So could you tell us in the as easy as possible what your conference today is going to be about in as easy way as possible for an audience that is not necessarily an expert in accounting?
The basic idea is that I believe that financial reporting rules need to be different for different kinds of company, that it makes more economic sense, that it makes life easier for smaller companies, and that's the fundamental idea. And that's grounded in the fact that the European Commission requires all listed companies within the EU to apply full IFRS. And at a practical level, I'm suggesting that that's not ideal, it's not necessary. It would be more useful if smaller listed companies had a more restricted, a smaller set of accounting rules to work with.
So could you elaborate a bit in what you think are the drawbacks of this complexity for these small firms that operate in Europe?
The immediately presenting complexity is, presenting disadvantage of complexity is cost. A company needs to have people inside it who understand the rules and who can organise internal control systems and things like that, can prepare the financial reports in accordance with these rules. So the more complex the rules, the more expensive the training has to be for all these people. And it has to be perpetual training because the rules change all the time. So you can't hire somebody in 25, say, and them still to be fully conversant with the rules in 2015. So there is cost of that kind. And then there is economic cost of a wider kind, in the sense that companies are frightened by complexity. They fear unintended consequences of changing their accounting basis. They fear a disconnection with their management and their investors. And so it's a big disincentive against seeking finance on the public capital markets. So a wider economic cost is that it keeps private companies from expanding. And of course, any country in the world requires young, new companies to expand and take the place of older, declining companies.
So this is from the point of view of, let's say, the preparers of information. But this complexity, obviously, it also affects the users of information. So IFRS was supposed to enhance comparability, make it easier for the users to understand information. Do you think that has been achieved, or is this complexity actually something that also has bad consequences for financial statement users, particularly more naive investors?
Have IFRS achieved better capital market outcomes? Yes, the research evidence says that is the case. The research evidence is less specific about whether that's across the whole market or whether that's a limited subset of the larger companies, say, which I think could be the case, who are now presenting accounts that are comparable with other international companies. If you look at the companies listed on the Fortune Global 500, that is to say the 500 largest companies in the world, half of them now use IFRS, whereas if you go back 10 years, hardly any of them did. So there has been a great opening up at that level of international activity. But in the European Union, the Commission decided that IFRS should apply to all listed companies, irrespective of size. And certainly a lot of smaller listed companies complain that their investors are still the same investors that they were before, except that now they don't understand the accounts. Whether that's really true, of course, it's very difficult to say, but you can understand that from the point of view of those companies and their users, they're saying, well, yes, this is a more complex set of rules, but actually we don't think it's bringing us anything.
Okay, so thank you very much.